To the podcast. Hey, turn into the podcast. We on the couch.
We got B-Rav in the building. Let's start with the MJ doc. Episode 7 and 8. All we got left, man, as far as sports goes. You just watched it, right? Just like literally right before the show.
I just watched it. I watched it before we started recording tonight, man. And like I was saying, what I was saying earlier is, so I've always been a fan of Mike. I've always felt like Mike has always been the GOAT. You know, I know a lot of people feel like LeBron. I feel like Mike has been the GOAT. Everybody used to always say like, well, Mike, you know, you was good, but you had Scottie, you had this and that. This documentary to me is actually tarnishing Scottie Pippen's legacy a little bit more than I thought it would. When you look at some of the stuff that he checked out on, that when you being considered probably one of the best small forwards ever played the game, but yet you didn't want to go in because they wouldn't give you the ball. Yet you didn't want to take the surgery in the offseason when you were supposed to because you didn't want to ruin your summer. Like, these are not characteristics of what you would expect from an all-time great. I'm not taking nothing away from Pippen. Lord knows I couldn't beat him in a 1-on-10. But it just goes to show you, just to me, how much Michael Jordan did and how dominant this dude was as a 6'6" guard, bro.
Yeah.
As a guard.
So, you know, if you're sleeping under a rock, it kind of chronicled the retirement. So 7 and 8 chronicled the retirement, his time with the Barons and AA ball, and then his comeback, and then also they kind of get all the way up until the Eastern Conference Finals of the 98 series against Reggie Miller and the Pacers. So that's kind of the time span that you get. You really get into his father's death, how that affected him. You also get into his leadership, though. He got so emotional at one point to where I was like, I don't know, fellas, have you ever been so passionate about something and nobody else is, but you don't understand how they're not passionate about their life, their finances, or I don't know what it may be.
Yeah.
But he had so much, he got teary-eyed and said he had to yell cut on the tape because, you know, he was like, leadership has a price. You know what I mean? And sometimes you're going to be liked and sometimes you're not. And you have to live with everybody not going to like me, but the overall goal was to win championships. And that resonated with me. That resonated with me a lot, man, with just the different things that I'm passionate about. Like, and when you wonder why everybody else ain't on the same shit that I'm on right now in regards to these things or you know, that are common things, of course, not NBA.
It makes you realize that how much you look at things and other people don't, and you make you wonder, like, how are you not seeing this from my point of view? How are you not seeing things the way I see things? But it just, listen, man, everybody's different. It really is. Everybody really is different.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Prez.
So I want to say, like, you mentioned a couple things up in there. So if we're talking about the leadership, I think it highlighted the leadership portion of how him and Scottie Pippen was so different in the dynamic
in their
and
leadership
like
styles.
how like, as much as you hate the people that are like, let's go ahead and say assholes out there that's going to continue to push you, ain't going to cut you no slack, and the bosses that you just hate.
They make you
but
so
you know
much
they
better.
get the best work out of it.
They make you so
They
much
get
better.
the best work out. The Steve Jobs, like, this ain't no new story that we hearing. Like, those people that hey, well, you know, he was doing this and he was grimy over here, like all this was up. But what did he get? What was the end goal? Like, what was the end product? And then you got your, hey man, we can do this together type leadership as Scottie was doing the whole deal. And it'll get you so far. But it didn't give them that extra kick in the ass that they needed when they was going to a championship or when they was during the off season to keep them going and coming back with that same intensity. They lost it all, and they was damn near begging for Jordan to come back because they realized they kind of needed that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So during that time frame, I think that was definitely highlighted. Like, hey, you see your different leadership styles, and you know, like, as much as you hate those type of leaders. Come on, let's be honest. Like, they done got some of the best work out of me as well, too. You know what I mean? But I was like, I don't want to do it nonstop. Like, you got your breaking point. Bro.
Right.
Hey, if you want to achieve greatness, hey, this is what it takes.
Kerr
It takes all your damn effort.
Steve Kerr had his breaking point and swung on Mike. So, you can only talk a certain way and have a certain type of. That's why it's great to have a diverse leadership style. You know what I mean? And know how to cater your leadership style to the different type of people you encounter.
The different type of people.
Right, right.
Now, you know what else I found? Now, I don't know if y'all remember this, but I realized this. Michael Jordan, he won so much that when I'm watching this and realize the playoff series that he lost, I forgot he lost those playoff series.
That's what I
Like,
wanted to get into. That's what my question is.
I literally forgot.
So why does the 95 return loss to the Magic get so much of a pass on Mike? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know the obvious reasons, but why do y'all think that other players that are heavily criticized now that have taken losses in big moments, why do you think Mike gets off the hook on that one? Because if he would have came back and won it all, then we would have put him even higher on this God level, you know?
But it's the same way. It's the same way that man, don't have to actually talk nice about this guy that Brady get. You know what I mean? Like, hey, he had plenty of losses up in that time frame, but they constantly came back, and that's where you keep seeing. Like, hey, when they do have a loss, they're immediately back in the picture, and I think that's what kind of shades over that portion. Like, hey, you may have had that loss in between, but the drive you have to constantly get better and go and like take on these new challenges. And hey, you know what? I'm dedicating my whole off season to just getting right and beating these guys. That's the type of effort that like stands out.
Okay, I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
Hold on.
Calm down. I'm not repeating nothing. I'm not repeating nothing. You might as well move on.
No, it's okay. It's recorded. It's okay. We'll play that clip back a million times. But here's the thing. The reason why that comeback season gets, and I won't say it gets a pass, but the reason why I say it gets a pass, because it's just that, dude, you just came back. Like, you just came back from playing baseball. You just trained your body for baseball. Now you're switching over to basketball, and you go into a series. And really, if you look at that Orlando, and this is what, you know how people always say, well, Jordan didn't have to face anybody when he was winning. Dude, Horace Grant could go. Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway healthy is just as good as good as a dynamic duo as any duo LeBron has faced. I don't care what you say. You take a healthy Penny and a prime jumping out the gym, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron ain't faced that.
Taking down goals.
I mean, this man taking down goals. So, and then you take Nick Anderson, who was a decent NBA player. People forget about Derek Scott, who was also on that basketball team, who was a 3-and-D type guy. So this was no slouch-ass team that they lost to. And he still almost was able to be competitive in that situation.
Yeah,
But then what makes it different is you go through that, you take that L, and you come back the next year and you win 72 freaking games. Man.
Yeah, speaking on that,
and that's what we talking about.
Right.
Like, you taking that next step, and if you're making a race it, like, oh, I had a bad year. Well, check out this one. Oh, this is all you're gonna talk about, because I'm gonna make you forget about that. When you have that type of drive in you and that type of dedication, like, oh, I may have failed, but I make sure you ain't gonna remember this. And that's the type of leadership
exactly.
that Mike had.
yeah, and he definitely did his thing as far as, you know, on the Space Jam set and how long they were working, as far as, you know, 12, 15 hour, you know how filming movies can be, and then also playing about 2 to 3 hour pickup games and inviting guys from all over the, you know, the country to come play with him and you know, get back to where he needed to be to accelerate the process. So, man, he did that all summer just so he can get to be about 95% MJ, and like Hud said, came back and won 72. But, you know, one thing that I found that was new information to me that I didn't know, and I'm sure you guys probably didn't know, but maybe you did, was that Jerry Reinsdorf was paying him $3 million per season while he was out. Did y'all know that? Like, the Bulls owner still kept paying him?
Well, I didn't know that.
I didn't know until I saw the documentary, but I mean,
yeah.
So my
I tell you what,
my follow up to that. Oh, my bad.
Hold on. Yeah, but like, you can tell Mike had complete like editing control over this thing, because they try to make it look like he was actually good at baseball. I know numbers can say some things, but sometimes it's a different picture when you're actually watching the video. They still, I don't think Mike, a couple years in, would have made it up. I think they would have elevated him up eventually just to get the ticket sales and get more money out of it. Yeah, you paying them $3 million or what was it? How much mil they was paying him?
3 mil. The Bulls were still paying him 3 mil per season. So
$3 million.
essentially, what it looked like is that they only bumped him up to AA. Well, they said exactly that. They bumped him up to AA, which they normally would go a little bit lower in terms of a farm
The media.
team, just because of the media and what could hold the circus that was going to be Michael Jordan. And then they even try to say, well, he hit 202, and for a guy to come in and do bat 202 at a AA was actually good for the level of competition he was, playing, for not ever really playing since he was 17 years old. So, but it is what it is. But he, that man hold grudges. I think Sports Illustrated trashed him as far as on an article, and I don't think he ever did a damn interview with them again. You know what I'm saying? So
that's how Mike roll.
So it was Isaiah Thomas and then Sports Illustrated. I wonder who gonna be in the next one. Who else get X'd out?
All right, so fellas, fun question. Rank them. Mike, LeBron, and Kobe. Rank them 1, 2.
Mike. Honestly, Mike, Kobe, LeBron.
Kobe, Mike, LeBron.
Oh Lord, the bless.
Oh Lord, that's why nobody talks to me, man.
I got the same one as you, man. I think it's not because he passed away. Rest in peace to Kobe, but it's because like people like continuously do this overlooking thing as if Kobe wasn't the closest thing to MJ.
The remix is always better, people. The remix is always better.
Nah, man. But the last thing. So how these athletes in particular, I'll kind of draw the parallel with not Kevin Garnett, but KD. You know how we always get on him about everything somebody say on Twitter or in an article, how he gets super emotional and fire back. How do y'all feel about like how MJ, all these stories coming out about, oh, he just got kicked out the league secretly because he was gambling, and how the media tied his gambling debt into his dad being murdered, and all these different type of things that didn't have no facts behind it, yet and still people went ahead and wrote this shit. And of course he was the biggest player in the world. You know what I mean? Like, how do y'all feel about that?
Nobody wants certain individuals to be on top but for so long. And when you stay that way, they're going to try to find any way possible to bring you down, even if they got to lie, cheat, scratch, and kill. Give it time. As good as an off-the-court person LeBron has been, let him keep manifesting. It's going to be something. They don't like that. Him downstairs. So you to tie that into that man's father's death is beyond of a low blow. It's beyond of something that goes into that. I would, even if it was true, why would you even print that? Yeah. Like, come on, man.
I think it's safe to say that's why Mike ultimately left, man. All of the, pressure he was under as far as that goes, and just having to be up all the time on things, and then the passing of his dad, and then all the lies and the shit with them talking about, his gambling debt, and, him going to Atlantic City in the previous episodes and all this stuff. It's like, damn, I can't even be human. I got to live in more of a bubble, even though, I have all these riches and all these things that you think are all the things that anybody else would want. So found that kind of interesting, man.
Yeah, but hold up. I think it's messed up that they creating about his dad and stuff like that. Like that's kind of messed up. But I do like the little, behind the scenes, this a maybe story that actually happened that you're never gonna, like, people just don't acknowledge, just so you have something else to like debate a little bit on. Like, Jordan himself was saying, like, he made up lies just so he'll have some drive over here to keep doing better.
He felt like he did it all. Like, yeah, they had some examples in there of some random ass player to where they asked MJ years later, did such and such ever say that? Because he was like some bum that had like 37 on Mike one time. And then the next night they played him on a back-to-back, and Mike went in there and bust his ass, like embarrassed him, and you know what I mean? And then apparently the guy never said anything to Mike about having he said, good game, Mike. That's what was the thing at the time, but he never said that shit. And there's a lot of little things like that that come out about Mike, man. But
that's just kind of how Mike operate.
Yeah, true indeed. Yeah. True indeed. But
but y'all love these controversies. Y'all know y'all do. Like, hey, why didn't Marshawn get the ball going in for the Super Bowl? why Sean Alexander a couple yards away from breaking the record, why he got benched. Like, I mean, we hear these stories.
Like the one, why is the Raiders never gonna be good? That's a good one.